Welcome to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. In this podcast, we discuss mystical works of literature and how they relate to recovery. We hope you enjoy today's podcast episode.
Hello, this is Buddy C. Welcome to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. Today we have Brian and Drew and Lou and Oscar. Good to have you guys today. Today we'll be talking about the 55th verse of the Tao Te Ching and how it relates to our recovery, our experience in recovery, not our philosophy, but how this speaks to us right now in this moment. We make a practice of not reading these beforehand or studying them in any way so that we can see how they're speaking to us now. And we're up to, I think, 298, 299 on podcasts. So you could go back and look back through our inventory and see what comments we made the last time we talked about this. And I bet they're different. I would imagine they're different because, like any text that's describing the higher power, every day I'm seeing it from just a slightly different view than what I saw it the day before. That's what's great. And we're all seeing it from a slightly different view. So when we talk about it, it's like the blind men that are describing the elephant. Same deal. Any announcements, go to buddyc.org. Lots of good resources there. Take a look. Lots of things there that can be a benefit. We also have a bookstore that if we mention books, normally they are in the bookstore if you're looking for easy links to find those. Plus, it helps support the podcast when you buy books from the bookstore. We get a little commission off of that, and it helps pay our expenses that we have. They're not that much, but it does help. Okay, 55th verse. Oh, by the way, if you would like to join us, you're welcome to. We have a Facebook group by the same name as the podcast, which is a private group. We post the links and the video of the meeting, everything there, and discuss during the week different comments that come up, not only that pertain to the podcast, but just anything pertaining to our recovery, and especially in discussing Taoist thought with recovery. This is not something you can normally discuss in a meeting. You can make a little comment here or there, a little quote. But for me, I've learned that most meetings I need to use text from AA for meeting topics. I tried some Tao text and it did not work for a meeting one time. Just fell flat. And I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to do this again because this doesn't speak to everyone, So also, if you're not on Facebook, you can just email me directly at info@buddyc.org and I will get you the links. Okay. 55th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Oscar, can you read us Jonathan Starr, please?
Yes, I love to. Thank you. Verse 55. One who embraces Tao becomes pure and innocent, like a newborn baby. Deadly insects will not sting him. Wild beasts will not attack him. Birds of prey will not strike him. He is oblivious to the union of male and female. He is oblivious to the union of male and female. Yet his vitality is full. His inner spirit is complete. He can cry all day without straining. So perfect is his harmony. So magically does he blend with his world. Know this harmony, it brings the eternal. Know the eternal, it brings enlightenment. A full life, this is your blessing. A gentle heart, this is your strength. Things in harmony with the Tao remain. Things that are forced grow for a while, but then wither away. This is not in keeping with Tao. Whatever is not in keeping with Tao comes to an early end. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. Brian, you want to read us Derek Lynn?
Sure. Glad to. All right. It says, those who hold an abundance of virtue are similar to newborn infants. Poisonous insects do not sting them. Wild beasts do not claw them. Birds of prey do not attack them. Their bones are weak, tendons are soft, but their grasp is firm. They do not know of sexual union, but can manifest arousal due to the optimum of essence. They can cry the whole day and yet not be hoarse, due to the optimum of harmony. Knowing harmony is said to be consistency. Knowing consistency is said to be clarity. Excessive vitality is said to be inconspicuous. Mind overusing energy is said to be aggressive. Things become strong and then grow old. This is contrary to the Tao. That which is contrary to the Tao will soon perish.
Thank you, Brian. Drew, you have Stephen Mitchell?
I do. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. Its bones are soft, its muscles are weak, but its grip is powerful. It doesn't know about the union of male and female, yet its penis can stand erect, so intense is its vital power. It can scream its head off all day, yet it never becomes hoarse, so complete is its harmony. The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly without desire. He never expects results, thus he is never disappointed. He is never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old.
Thank you, Drew. Lou, do you have anything for us?
I have a different one from Red Pine. I have one from DC Lau. It's the Penguins classic, I guess. Lau Di Chi. It says, one who possesses virtue in abundance is comparable to a newborn babe. Poisonous insects will not sting it. Ferocious animals will not pounce on it. Predatory birds will not swoop down on it. Its bones are weak and its sinews supple, yet its hold is firm. It does not know of the union of male and female, yet its male member will stir. This is because its vitality is at its height. It howls all day, yet does not become hoarse. This is because its harmony is at its height. To know harmony is called the constant. To know the constant is called discernment. Try to add to one's vitality is called ill-omened. For the mind to egg on the breath is called violent. A creature in its prime doing harm to the old is known as going against the way. That which goes against the way will come to an early end.
Let's go back to the first of the verse. As usual, we'll use a Stephen Mitchell as an outline. He who is in harmony with the Tao is like a newborn child. And then he goes on to describe a newborn child and how the newborn child lacks nothing, even though as a newborn child, it may need help with a lot of things. It's already complete, right? We've talked about that recently. Just because the newborn baby can't dress himself and go to school does not mean there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with my 1-month-old. Doctor, so what is it? He's not able to fix his breakfast. I don't know what is it? That's ridiculous, right? But don't we do the same thing on a spiritual level though? When I came into recovery, I expected everything to be perfect immediately. I was told things like, I did not get this far into the woods overnight, so why would I expect to come out overnight? It's going to take some time and some work and some, effort to come out. I just didn't understand what that effort really was. And I realized that the whole time I was complete. Oscar mentioned this. I've been thinking about this, Oscar, actually. I think it was last week. We were talking about the moment and that we're in the moment at all times, but don't realize we're in the moment. And I thank you. I'd never heard it put that way, and it really made sense to me. The whole time we don't realize we're already complete. I think in the same way. And really the completeness is learning to be in the moment. Just like they describe the child as being able to scream all day and never become hoarse. Huh. Oscar?
Yeah, I wrote down one of the other translations. I don't know which one it was, but there was said about the eternal spirit and expectation. So there's a kind of conclusion there that the eternal spirit has no expectations. And then, the eternal spirit can never be anywhere else than here and now. So the eternal spirit is also the present moment. It's the same thing. Or it's not a thing, of course, but
It's so we can't explain it with our words because our words are so divisive,
Yeah, but for the sake of conversation, it's the same thing.
Yes. It's definitely not different.
Sometimes when I am in meditation or working the steps in meditation, like step 6 or 7 in meditation, and I enter this eternal present moment or the spirit, I feel this I feel really soft. Like there is a softness or it's more than the harshness or the hardness is getting lost, or it's floating out of me, and the softness is what stays. So the softness is always there, but I have a lot of weapons and shields, and in the way of behavior and thoughts and expectations and desires and fears, and all these things tighten me. And when I let go, also with the letting go exercise of David Hawking, I experienced the same thing. That you feel a softness, which is, oh wow, I'm that soft. Whoa. And that's really this association I had with this baby being. When you see a baby, when you see or touch a baby, you have the same experience, or I have the same experience of softness. Not the baby's experience, but my own experience. So the baby is a mirror for my own softness. I really enjoyed being around babies. in contradiction to a lot of men in my environment who like their children when they are a bit older and they can talk and you can do more things. I always enjoyed being in the companion of a baby. Also when they cry all day. Yeah. I don't really care.
I prefer to have children from the age of about 4 to 10 or 11, then trade them in and get another one. I would like that, quite honestly. That would be my favorite if I had my brothers. That was the most enjoyable time with my kids. Just trade.
I think I'm on a level of a 4-year-old, so I kind of in that comfort zone. That's how I think.
You should do a lease, buddy.
I'm sorry.
Just do a lease.
I need to consider that. Thank you, Brian. I'm waiting on grandkids. They're going to be easy to do that with. My grandson's 4 or will be in November. So soon I'll be able to do that with him. So
yeah.
Grandkids are better. My grandpa said if I'd known they were this much fun, I would have had them first.
Yes. I've been after my daughter. I said, I want you to have a baby. Just between me and you, I don't care if you're married or not. I want some grandkids. You need to get started. I love having children around. They're fun. Man, are they fun.
Buddy, I've got 29 grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I'll loan you one if you get
what?
desperate.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
29, working on 30.
Y'all are fertile up there in Michigan.
It's called the blended family.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a great uncle that had 19 children. Uncle Noah. Actually, that was his name, Uncle Noah. But, anyway, it's interesting how when you get past all the things describing the child, you get to the last stanza or so. And I like really the way that Stephen Mitchell came at this. Is he saying the master's power is like this, as in the child, or what he's describing coming up after that? Would it be what's after that he's saying? Because he talks about the child, not being hoarse. He's complete. The master's power is like this. He lets all things come and go effortlessly without desire. I'm a little confused as to what if y'all have some insight on that. But does he let all things come and go effortlessly because he is complete? He knows he's complete because desire says, I'm not complete. He never expects results. If you're complete, you don't need expectations. Right? I think he's saying that the master's power is like the complete child. Instead of the master's power is like this and then explaining, he says the master's power is like this and then going on to explain it. He never expects results, thus he's never disappointed. Drew?
Yeah, just kind of on that question, the master letting all things come and go effortlessly without desire. I do think that's directly related to, the description of the baby above. I kind of think of babies as always desiring something, whether it's a nap or food or, who knows, which is why it's always screaming its head off all day, but I think what he's really talking about is, desiring something outside of the present moment. So, what babies want or what they need, that's just in the present moment. They're not looking into the future. They're not, dwelling in the past. They're not living in regrets or, resentments or anything like that. They're not desiring other people to change. They're not, worried about, something that may happen a year into the future, 2 years or 10 years or even tomorrow, really. So I kind of think that's what that's about. Letting things come and go in the present moment. If you need something, then you need something. If you can get help from somebody, then you ask for help from somebody. Otherwise, if you've got what you need, then, maybe it's a good time to rest and just do what you need to do without feeling like you need to do anything. Just kind of listening to your body and letting your body take it from there. That's kind of what I got out of it.
Thank you, Drew. Lou?
In a similar vein, I think, I wonder if it's also about the ability to endure, to not get worn out, to not get worn down. If you're letting things come and go, you're just releasing them. You're not hanging on to them. A baby can cry all day, howl all day, all night, because it has that kind of endurance. It's pliable, and it can endure its own cries for a long period of time. I don't know, but I wonder if maybe it's kind of connected to that. You kind of have this revitality, not only vitality, but renewal of vitality that may have something to do with the verse.
Thank you, Lou. So there's a difference. So letting go would renew that vitality. And, I think there may be a difference between what the baby needs or the baby's actions and the baby being complete. There's a relationship there that's being related to the master. I mean, just because the baby is demanding things doesn't mean the baby's doing something wrong or is in need of something. Let's go that route. Is in need of something or thinks it's in need of something. It's like when my son went to the doctor when he was 6 months old, I asked the doctor, I said, when is it okay for him to cry himself to sleep? He said, at 6 months old. I said, okay. How old is he? He said, he's 6 months old. My wife was there. I said, okay. So that's okay now. He said, yep. He said, it's fine. I said, okay. So we went home, put him to bed that night. He cried, thinking he needed something that he really didn't need. About 45 minutes and he went to sleep. Next night, it was 30, the next 15. The next night, he went to sleep without crying at all. And from then on, never cried again. Going to sleep, Doesn't mean something was wrong with him. There's something there that I don't think we've got to yet. Brian?
Yeah, I was looking at some of these, the start here, and Derek Lynn talks about, the newborn infant denotes a pure and simpler state of mind, full of bliss and grace. And then it says, basically, as we grew up, we become more and more affected by the material world. To me, a lot of this speaks to contentment and surrender, not being envious. Some more comments he says that the poisonous insects represent a sting of malicious gossip. The beasts represent fear and anger. The birds of prey represent greed and envy. Said the Tao cultivators protect us from all of these dangers. That's all I got.
Thank you, Brian. Star says, things that are forced grow for a while and then wither away. Oscar?
Yeah, I was still kind of thinking about this. He can cry all day without straining. So perfect is his harmony. So there is no ego yet. That's probably it. So there's just a body, and a body it's just a body. It's nothing. So it's about the spirit. It's about the purity of spirit, which is not disturbed by any egoic thinking or consciousness or being. There is no ego. So it's pure and perfect in its harmony, though it can cry all day. Yeah, it can cry all day, but it doesn't cry like if I cry all day, it's really full of self-pity or anger or all this egoic things. But the baby doesn't cry for these things. It's the beauty of children is that they don't have egos yet, or very small, but at least not developed egos yet. So just this. Also, when you watch a little bit older children, when they come out of school and there is this group of children, it's like one organism. It's like one organism. There is no ego in it. And only later, when they are 10, 11 years old, then they start working on their I dossier and their opinions and their thoughts, and all these things become important. But in children, there is perfect harmony, which is also in us. But we made a mistake that we think we are all these thoughts and opinions, and that's the real important thing. So we are just mistaken, and the wise man is not mistaken.
Oscar, could it be like the child is crying but is in the moment crying? And when we behave that way, we're normally not really in the moment. I know if I'm ever upset, I may be a little upset in the moment, but it's a lot to do with some fear of the future, the past, or regret. So something to do that's not in the moment.
Exactly. When we go back to the moment when we're crying, we probably stop crying or not. It doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
But that's with the baby also. It doesn't really matter. It's just a body and a body thing that happens, but it's without the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Thank you. Lou.
You guys are going deeper than I was, but it really kind of related. I related that same part of it to kind of before coming into a 12-step program, and then after being in it for a while. Before coming into the program, I had all of my crying and all of my issues and no harmony. After coming in the program and being involved in the steps, I got to a place where I still had all of that kind of mess going on, but I had more harmony. So the ability to have your needs not met, the ability to be kind of crying on the inside or the outside, but still have harmony is paradoxical. But it's possible. It's possible when you have that pliability, I think, and you can let things come in and let them go out. So it reminded me to kind of before and during or after being involved in the 12-step.
Thank you, Lou. So looking at Stephen Mitchell's last little stanza there, last paragraph, the only way that I can let things come and go effortlessly is by living in my completeness, right? Without desire. Really, the desire is the reason I can't let things go, isn't it? It's not only that the master lets things go, the master lets things go effortlessly because the master knows he lacks nothing. So why hold on to anything? Whatever else is coming is fine with it. It doesn't make any difference. If I knew what was coming, and let's say I had it all, if I could see all those things, I certainly wouldn't worry over what I worry over sometimes. When I worry over things that I do worry over, which are less than they used to be, but when I do, it's always because I don't see myself as complete. I see myself as lacking in some way. Yes. That goes back to acceptance of the moment too, right? Acceptance is the answer to all of my problems today, tomorrow, forever. Not only to this moment, it's really this moment and so forth, because if I'm accepting this moment as it is right now, I can let go of the desire. I can let go of all of the rest. And I can be at that place of harmony. That's actually the only way I can be at that place of harmony is by living in acceptance. And, when I'm in acceptance, that doesn't mean approval. Doesn't mean I live in approval. Living in acceptance and living in approval are two different things. If I'm in acceptance, then I can see more clearly if there is something that I can change or not. If I'm wrapped up in my head and full of fear and desire, all that coming from fear, of either losing something I have or not getting something that I want or think I need, then I can't be at peace, which comes from acceptance. It's not possible. And this next one is tough for me. Not only am I to live in acceptance, not only am I as a result letting things come and go effortlessly without any desire, I am also never disappointed. That one's tough. Well, they're all tough. All of that's tough. But for me, the disappointment is a red flag that I'm not in acceptance. And me not able to let things go is a sign of that too. Mitchell says that he's never disappointed, thus his spirit never grows old. So he doesn't grow old if he's not disappointed. But these other translations take that a different way. Talks about star, things in harmony with Tao remain. Things that are forced grow for a while, but then wither away. Mentioned that a while ago. If I'm forcing something and it withering away, okay, let's keep going. This is not Tao to force things. Whatever is not Tao comes to an early end. For me, I think that could mean situations in life that I'm forcing, full of desire, full of expectations, full of disappointment. Those situations are going to die. That's withering away. My attitude is an attitude of death. There's no life in me attaching to things because everything's coming and going. We can't grasp the new thing until we let go of the old, right? That's just so simple for me to see. If I'm out let's say I'm out in the stream and something comes along that I want to look at, and I stop it in the stream and I'm looking at it. As it's coming by, it's easy for me to hold on to. But once it's leaving me, it takes more and more and more force for me to hold on to it, right? This new thing that's coming, there's no way I can grasp it while I'm trying to hold on to the old. So I got to let these things come and go, come and go. That analogy just makes so much sense for me. So I guess I could look at the things that are withering in my life, the things that are dying, and say, what part did I have? What is my part, right? What is my part in this? What was there a way that I was putting undue expectations in this area of life? Let's say it was a business. Was I stressing over that business too much? Was I, expecting more than I should, and not only money but satisfaction and all those things out of that business? Talking about relationships. Say my relationship's not good with one of my children. Okay, am I expecting too much from them? Is there some way I'm trying to control them instead of allowing them to grow and their completeness to show itself? Or am I sitting over here trying to hold them under my thumb? I mean, I've had relatives that tried to control their children and grandchildren with money. Man, they would just control them. They would control them with money. And then if they ever wanted them to do something they didn't want to do, they would remind them of what they did for them. That's relationship withers every time they would do that. They still loved them, but that was finally they would say, no, we don't want your money. We can't even enjoy it because, you control us with it. Yeah, there's a lot that could be applied there. Oscar?
The children don't want their parents to control their lives because they want to control their own lives. But whatever way we go, control is the big illusion because we don't have it. It's nothing. It's really an illusion. And as long as we cling to the illusion, we have any control over anything, we are lost. Yeah, we are really lost. A 12-step program brought me really down to this. Okay, there's a lack of control, a complete lack of control, like complete powerlessness. Whoa! And then the reality opens up and becomes kind of visible or something like that. And there's true acceptance and present moment and peace of mind. Peace of mind is, as long as we think we are in control over anything, we don't have any peace of mind, right? How can we have peace of mind if we have control over something which is in fact impossible? So we know also we don't really have control over anything. So then we are always scared. We are always afraid of sickness, afraid of death, afraid of name it. But if we accept the fact that we don't have any control, we are at home.
Oscar, I used to tell my kids, I tell my son, I said, you can do anything you want to do. I don't care what it is as long as I want you to do it. Yeah. So what's our takeaways from this one, guys? If things are coming to an end, I need to take note of how I'm controlling, how I'm in fear, what ways I'm in fear in this situation, because fear would be the incompleteness, I think, because I think I'm incomplete. Am I disappointed? Why am I disappointed? I'm disappointed because I'm expecting something that didn't happen. Oh, that shows me where I'm lacking acceptance, right? If I'm not letting go of things, letting things come and go, if I'm trying hard as I can to let go and I just can't, then I need to take note of this. I've mentioned this multiple times, my two tools I use for letting go and acceptance. I would not change blank even if I could. Whatever it is, even if you don't believe it, try that as an affirmation. Whatever's causing you the angst, whatever you're waking up at night thinking about, put that in the blank. Do it for a couple of weeks and see what happens. I just challenge you to do it. Try it. I would not change blank even if I could. Then the second one, thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. Instead of everything, you could put in a blank there for whatever it is that's causing you angst. Whatever's the thing that you're holding on to, the thing you're desiring, the thing you're disappointed about. Thank you for whatever. And it's usually going to be a negative, right? Or phrase is a negative. Thank you for the loss of my job. I have no complaint whatsoever. Let's say it's a job loss that you're upset about. Hurt your feelings, embarrassed you, you feel, inadequate. All those things that happen when, you feel like a failure. If I were dealing with a job loss, I would say, thank you for my job loss. Thank you for the loss of my job. I have no complaint whatsoever. And my head would be screaming, crap, no, I don't want to, I'm trying not to curse anymore. I feel conscious about that now. No, I don't want to do that. I don't believe that. I'd say it anyway. And every time I said it, it seemed to get a little lighter and a little lighter, a little lighter. Or in addition to that, when you've done that a little while, then the more difficult one would be, or for me would be, I would not change the loss of my job, even if I could. Whoa. Just try it. A day won't be enough. Probably. Maybe a week won't be enough. Maybe 2 weeks. Maybe a month will not be enough. But you'll realize one day if you keep doing it that you didn't think about it that day. Like, wow, that really worked. It's the same thing as 552 in the big book on resentments. Praying for the person you resent. Even if you think it's empty words, do it anyway. Goes into detail about how to do that. But basically, you're saying something you don't believe is the opposite of what you really want to say and do. And it works. That's acting our way into right thinking. It works for me. Try it. If you stick with it, it'll work for you too. Some things take longer than others. I've had some things that took, one thing in particular, it took a couple of months. But most things take a few days. Now, there's not very often I even have to do that anymore. That's the gifts. Good conversation today. Good conversation today, guys. Thank you. Any comments before we close?
Grateful for the meeting.
Yeah, me too, Brian.
Always take something away to noodle on.
Had no idea this would come out in this meeting. I'd never even thought about half of that, before we got in here, and you guys would say something and then it would spark something else, just like it always does, I'm grateful too.
I say it always comes down to surrender.
Unfortunately.
That's it.
I was talking to a sponsee that I met with earlier this morning. We're talking about the Buddha. His time under the Bodhi tree was his moment of surrender. He said, I am not leaving until either I die or I'm in light. He said, me leaving is not an option. So they don't know how long he said under there. Some say 7 days, some say 40 days. Who knows? 49, I think, is the longest one I've heard. Doesn't matter. That was his bottom, his moment of surrender. Unfortunately, I have to suffer. But now I can lose my peace, and sometimes that can be my moment, not having to have extremes like I had to with alcohol. Sometimes I have to push, though. I just kept holding on instead of surrendering. That happens too. But, yeah, good stuff, guys. Thank you. Well, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Hello, this is Buddy C. I wanted to make you aware of several recovery-related resources that I've posted in the episode description. These resources include a list of recovery podcasts, a free sober meditation app, daily recovery email, shared Google recovery calendars. Hope you put some of these resources to use and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends in recovery.